Hello, this is EWTN Remote. I'm Sarah de Nordwall, and I'm delighted to have in the studio John with us. Hello, John.
Hi, Sarah. Lovely to be with you.
It's delightful to have you here, and I'm very pleased to have you here because we're going to be talking about a fantastic initiative, which, if you haven't heard of, you are in the right place, which is the We Believe Festival. And John is the director of that festival, and it's coming up in July on the 25th and to the 28th in Oscott in Birmingham. And I think you're going to be really excited to hear what it involves, and you're going to want to be involved. So first of all, John, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up with this fantastic project on your hands.
Well, I grew up going to festivals. My dad was a really keen pro-lifer. And so we would go as kids to, to secular events, to Christian music festivals, and he'd take a pro-life stall and like take that message to these places. And it was an amazing thing for me to witness as a young kid. When I grew up, I got really involved in festivals that would happen at Walsingham. So I can see Our Lady of Walsingham just there next to you.
Yes,
And they
indeed.
were, all of these events were, real great experiences of in-person connection. And so my story sort of winds through all of that and through those experiences of events in Walsingham. You'll know the former rector, sorry, Monsignor John Armitage, who when he
Yes, a
left
great man.
Walsingham, yeah, when he left Walsingham, he took on the role. He was given it by the bishops as Master of the Guild of Our Lady of Ransom, and I knew nothing about it, and I think many younger people would be in the same place as me. Older people do seem to have a memory of it because the guild has, we can get more into it, but it had this prestigious sort of space in the church. It not prestigious in like sort of a role of honor or anything. Just in terms of it did a lot. It arrived in the late 1800s, and its focus was on evangelization, the conversion of England and Wales. And so you get this really like
Right.
high energy, big idea sort of initiative. And so it's thanks to the Guild that this festival is happening. And yeah, it's
Wonderful.
alongside Monsignor John Armitage and his vision that it's taking place. So yeah, it's a little bit of my story, but mostly it's the story of this really entrepreneurial, exciting, and missional guild that's existed here in the UK for about 140 years.
And it's fantastic that, I'm only getting to hear about it because of you and because of the festival, and how wonderful that there are those resources available to bring forward a lot of
Mm.
initiatives and bring them together as well. I love it that you call it a festival because, of course, I think quite a lot of us have longed to have a festival of Catholic life. And when we watch Glastonbury happening and all these other things, you think, where's the Catholic equivalent? And you actually,
Yeah.
plunged in, wellies first, and said, we're going to do it too. And so tell us a little bit about who you've
Yeah.
invited and what they're going to see.
Sure, yeah. Well, we've invited to attend. We've invited everybody. It's an invitation. I mean, the name is We
Yeah.
Believe, and I love that that goes two ways. One, it really keeps with the part of the original initiative of the Guild was to create large-scale Catholic gatherings. This was at a time when it was only just post-emancipation
Oh,
Catholicism.
wow.
So, it was still not the in thing to be Catholic, and but people were joining the church in quite large numbers. And so the first priestly members of the guild are Cardinal Newman and Cardinal Manning, and they essentially give the guild like an energy to lead processions and pilgrimages and these large scale activities that renew the church. So it's a little bit of that. It's an invitation, we believe, for the church to come together in an extraordinary way. The traditions, the movements, the ministries, associations. We've got over 60 sort of partners and sponsors who are helping to actually deliver the program through 120 different contributors. So it's not a case of we've got something to present. It's really like, wow, this is the church doing this thing, coming together and making a
Yeah.
proper festival of Catholic life. Then there's that invitation. Then the other invitation is to anyone within society who's curious about the church. We saw a
Yeah.
lot recently that in the secular press, whether it was the Times or the Telegraph or the Independent or the Guardian, lots about the renewal of the Catholic Church in the UK, particularly the story
Yeah.
of young people and young men coming back to church. So that came off the back of the Quiet Revival report that came
Yes,
from
indeed.
the Bible Society. And so, yeah, I think we have a temptation when we think of, we've got the church, we've got believers, and then we've got the unchurched. And we can tend to think, oh, they're the the unchurched and maybe they're unreachable. The reality
Yeah.
is, like, it's more of a spectrum, isn't it? And there are people in that
Mm.
bracket who are curious about the faith, and so yeah, we believe is a confident invitation as well. It's like, hey, if you've got an inkling that there's
I like
something more to
that.
life, then this is the place for you to come and find out.
Yeah. So it was interesting. I was at Mass the other day with my new young godson who's 15. Oh, he's just had his 16th birthday. I was at his birthday. I should be able to
Wow.
remember. And when I took him to Mass, he was very keen to come. And the priest was talking about the quiet revival and how young men are coming into the church. And he sort of sat up a little bit straighter and looked at me and was like he suddenly
Yeah.
realized he was in the right place. And so, I'm keen to bring him along, for instance. So tell us a little bit about the program. By the way, let's tell people straight up front, the We Believe Festival, let me just check, it's .com, isn't it? Not .org or not anything else. WeBelieveFestival.com. All the program, all the wonderful contributors. And is there a chance for more people to contribute, or is it participants you're looking for still?
People are very welcome to sign up as sponsors, essentially to be a part of, the promotional side of things. The schedule is very full at this point. It's been a real journey to bring it to completion. So yeah,
Wow.
that won't be possible for this time. But please God, let's see how it goes, and we'll take stock afterwards. And yeah, it's a very genuine and generous invitation to all groups within the church, though. So yeah, for anyone who's hearing this late, yeah, it's not that you weren't invited. It's just that this is a initiative of some scope. So maybe
Yeah,
we'll get there. Sort
absolutely.
of,
It takes about a
should it go
year to
forwards?
organise something like this, doesn't it? Years to conceive and at least a year to organise. Um,
Mm,
so
yeah.
tell us a little bit about some of the people on the programme. Speakers who people are going to enjoy, performers, because I know that as soon as I heard about this, you were telling me about beauty, truth and goodness. And you really want these
Mm.
aspects of the church's life shared. And there's lots of presenters and performers, artists who are going to be able to share that. Tell us who you're excited about.
Yeah, we're really excited to have created a festival site. When you think of festival,
Wow,
okay, yeah,
yeah.
you go to the extreme of Glastonbury, but wherever you think of a map, right, with tents on. And I spent a few years helping to organise some parts of Big Church Day Out, which is a Christian festival, and they're just full of excitement and
Yeah.
opportunity. And so one of the coolest things for me was to be able to share with people a map and say, well, look, this is the beautiful college grounds, the building of Oscott Seminary, St Mary's College, Oscott in Birmingham. Um, but to have built that site with those different venues, and you mentioned truth, goodness, and beauty, they're three content spaces which these are the
Wow.
transcendentals of our faith. Literally, they transcend, right? This is how we experience God, through truth, through goodness, and through beauty. And each of us is drawn in a different way. Each of us responds uniquely to the call to holiness. And so it's been a real blessing for us to have a site that so easily, I suppose, and it's not through any great invention on my part or anyone else's. It seems a little bit like handed to us by God, but we've just followed that sort of natural order of things. We've got marquees themed after truth, goodness, and beauty, and their programs. It's not that they've written themselves, but it's like, wow, okay, what's kind of the best of British in the Catholic Church? Like, who can we bring together to deliver really fantastic content? And so, for example, things I'm really looking forward to, in the Truth marquee, there's a whole host of Dominicans, both brothers and sisters, which I'm really looking forward to. Sister Yasant from the New Forest is always one of my favourites in terms of teaching the faith. She'll
She's
talk about
fantastic. Yeah.
scripture, yeah, how to use scripture and catechesis in a parish. There's also fantastic talks from Stefan and Ella Kaminski, part of the Christian Heritage Centre, particularly focused on
Ah.
relationships, theology of the body, that side of things. There's looking at the beauty marquee, Sir James Macmillan, the Scottish
Yes,
composer,
I noticed. Beautiful.
a really just he's got such a fantastic line on that the encounter with God that takes place through music but also through liturgy, and he speaks beautifully about both, so we're delighted that he'll be able to join us and do that.
You've
Other
got some
elements,
Ukrainian
sorry, go on.
liturgy as well. Ukrainian liturgy.
Yeah,
Ukrainian
one of the
divine
key
liturgy.
Yeah, well, one of the key starting points for this festival was to think, okay, how could we bring the church together, and what does that mean? Like, what is the church? Who is the church in this country? And so, really, I mean, there's about 400,000 Catholics that go to Mass on a Sunday, which I think we need to say, sort of pat
It's
ourselves on the back
amazing.
and say that's fantastic. In a very digitalized age, there are
Mm,
so many people meeting every
mm,
week in person. That alone, regardless of the grace and the sacraments that happen,
yeah,
that's a great thing. Just humanly to like get off our screens and meet together for some,
yeah.
purpose beyond ourselves. I think that's marvelous. And so then beyond that, yeah, the encounter with God and the grace that comes from the Mass, beautiful. But the people going to Mass, there's a obviously we look around our church and we see people of different backgrounds and origins, and we are an extraordinary church that gathers the whole sort of community of the nation. And so you think of many of the people who are part of the Syro-Malabar Eparchy, which is about 80,000 Mass-going Catholics in this country. What about the Filipino community or
80,000.
the
Let's just hear that again. I mean, 80,000. And of course,
yeah,
a lot of them come to Walsingham and we see them in procession with their wonderfully
yeah,
colourful presentation and beautiful music and liturgy and language. But the languages are just
it'd be in
beautiful to
Malayalam, I
hear.
think.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, no, it is true, and I think we can. To be honest with you, a foundational principle of this festival has been generosity. That it's in the biggest sense, it's partly possible because of the generosity of all those people like me and you who gave money for the conversion of England and Wales. They gave it through the Guild, and so that money is there today. The Guild uses that for the evangelization of England and Wales, and so we're thankful for to them, and we pray for them as we hope they pray for us. But then also the generosity of these different communities that make up the church, willing to step in and say, yeah, we're Catholic, we are a Catholic communion, which means that we have churches together in communion that are following the Pope, and we also have the Ukrainian Catholic Church with us, and then you get smaller communities in this country, whether it's the Chaldeans or the Maronites, and yeah, this festival is a genuine opportunity for everyone to come together. Now I know that the reality is we won't be hundreds of thousands of people as happens on a Sunday if we were to count all the Catholics up, but it is a genuine invitation to as many as possible to come and experience what maybe beautifully we have our Sunday experience of faith, and this is an opportunity for something more. And we're in a year of Jubilee, which is a moment for
Yes.
special transformation, a moment for encounter with the Lord. And Pope Francis, God bless him, when he wrote the document that began the year of Jubilee, he said that in
Yeah.
his opening paragraph. He said, "This year for each of us is an opportunity for special transformation." And the implication there is that something beyond our normal. So we have to do something a little bit extra this year. We've got to, whether we give in a certain
Yeah.
direction, we forgive more, we choose to take something extra on. Well, what about this pilgrimage? Come to Oscott for this festival and see the church, in a bigger way, and please God, have a transforming encounter with the Lord.
And people won't just be passively receiving, they will be also being equipped. Also, there'll be workshops to help them, get equipped in, say, public speaking or creative writing, and so many opportunities for them to be inspired and motivated. And obviously a lot of people talk about the mental health crisis, don't they? People being isolated. And so this is a perfect opportunity to, as you say, meeting in person, and not just for an hour or a couple of hours, but they can come and camp, can't they? Let's talk a little bit about that, because it is that festival atmosphere of camping
Yeah.
over a few days. And so tell people how that's going to work a little bit, because it can be like a whole, summer holiday of festivity, really, the things to enjoy and do.
Yeah, there's a couple of points. So the first one, sorry, was just around like, mental health, wasn't it? And I
Yeah.
think that speaks to the big point of, yeah, phones aren't bad, full stop, but we can be over reliant and definitely over dependent on them. And so really investing in an opportunity for community in something like this is different. So whether it's yes, coming and attending, or even joining the team. Like one of the great things I did as a young man was to volunteer for several different organizations, and it brought me so much connection and community and joy as a part of it. And so in this age of sort of like it seems as if we're being driven to isolation, we have to really as a church, but the invitation there to anyone listening individually is to step in the direction of relationship. Yeah. So that's the first thing I say. But then you said the second point you were saying there about practically how does it work? Yes, this is a camping festival. I went camping 2 weeks ago in Walsingham, actually, not
Ah.
far away. We've been at Binham, just next
Oh
door,
yes, lovely
and
near Binham Priory, gorgeous.
we've all just experienced like 3 months of sunshine, and then we had incredibly heavy wind for that weekend, and the ground was so hard that nobody's tent pegs went in, and like the tents were sort of blowing away in the middle of the
Oh
night and
my
all that. So
goodness.
not to terrify anyone, but Oscott, I think, will be softer ground, a bit more shelter,
Yeah.
beautiful trees there, and then yeah. But anyway, so yeah, there'll be about there's space for about 1,000 people to camp, which is great. I mean, to wake up next to if you're in the family campsite, you're waking up amongst Catholic families and just the kids playing together in the morning. Great fun, really good environment. There's a general campsite as well for people who want to maybe stay up a little bit later and wake up a little bit later as
There
well,
is an
might I add.
after hours program. There is an early risers
Yeah.
program. I know which I'll be on. I remember somebody saying that, in the Beatitudes, the word in the Greek about being blessed is in the place to be blessed. And I'm just thinking, as you're talking about that site, waking up in the morning amongst all these other families and people, you are in the place as well, in the place to be blessed. The Lord can create so many beautiful encounters, serendipitous moments where you just stumble into a tent where you meet just the right person. I mean, I teach in the seminary and I hear the testimonials of those young men who have now chosen to train in the priesthood. And what's amazing is that some of them were a million miles from thinking about that. And then they went to a festival or a prayer festival somewhere in the world, and they might have been in a really bad place, and yet they prayed, maybe even for the first time, and then suddenly a person was pointed out to them. They went to talk to them, and boom, life changing. So you mentioned transformation, and I think that's just so important. Never underestimate what God can do. The program's fantastic. I'm going to send people right back to the website again, because you're talking about volunteering. If you go to become a festival builder, they've got all these things you can do. The worship team, the site team, the health and safety team, the design team, the hospitality team. People have no idea how much goes into this stuff, and you can be a part of all of it. The catering team, the partners team, the media team, the production team, the social team. And that's just people building it. But a lot of this coordination has been done mainly by you, John. So I'd ask people to pray for you in the upcoming to this festival. It's a lot of work, isn't it? Having these initiatives and then seeing them through. So well done you and your wife, Therese, and all the work you've done for it. And that to me is also really encouraging. A lot of us have little seedling ideas. It's okay to feel alone a bit. And you can think, well, surely if it was the right thing to do, loads of people would turn up to help me. Not necessarily. Keep going. And I think a lot of people are doing small initiatives all over the country, and they're going to meet fellow pilgrims who are really trying to make things happen. I see collaborations happening. I see, great meetings and inspiration.
Yeah. That's one of the main reasons for this to happen. Is like, yes, we're really excited for the festival itself and all the wonderful things that will happen there, but also, wow, the legacy of it, like what comes beyond when you organize an event that brings the church together in such an extraordinary way. I can't help but get really excited when I think about like you say, collaboration, the relationships that will be built, and just the sharing of ideas. I know, Sarah, you are an incredibly creative woman, and yeah, just the ideas that you have and the things that you enact are, just marvelous. And when they collide with someone else who has a similar sort of energy, but maybe complementary gifts, then suddenly the kingdom is expanded, isn't it? The opportunity for evangelization, particularly. That's why this. In terms of a festival of evangelization, that's really the key. It's creative collaboration between whether it's the traditions, the movements, the ministries, individuals, associations, whoever it is, the opportunity just to meet face to face and heart to heart beautifully in the place where Cardinal Saint John Henry Newman, where he lived, and he was confirmed in that chapel.
Oh,
and obviously his motto. Yeah, it's very special. And it's where he preached the second spring sermon as well.
Oh my
So in terms
goodness.
of the
Yes,
renewal
how
of the
incredible.
faith in this country, we're going there to give thanks for the church and to pray for its renewal, or her renewal, sorry, in this country. But then, his motto was "Heart speaks to heart," and I just
So
think that's
true.
marvelous. It's another, we could have chosen it as a theme, I think, for the festival. But really, that's my hope. Heart speaks to heart, and the fruit of that will be a church on mission, on fire for evangelization.
And we are entering a really difficult week next week in Parliament, where people are going to be tabling abortion up to birth amendments, assisted dying amendments. And yet here we are, showing what the church is and can be. It is the answer to all these problems: the honouring of life, the reverencing of life, the sanctification of life, the destiny of human life. It's like, have the confidence to bring people, as you said right at the beginning, John, the curious or even the not curious, people who are opposed to the church, say, well, come and see. There's such depth, such wealth. We need to be so confident, because these slippery slopes have become, falling off a very steep cliff very quickly rather than slippery slopes. And here's the answer. Here's the source of all our, not just optimism, but substantial supernatural hope. And it's the year of hope, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. This, in one sense, this is a festival of hope. At least the culture, that the shift in culture, there feels something very hopeful in the air, doesn't there? And
There
I think we
really
call it
is.
the Holy Spirit.
Absolutely.
But on the back of that, you're totally right. The stuff going on in Parliament at the moment, and the societal drift on lots of issues. I think just the moral compass is, over time, the window shifts, doesn't it? What's acceptable in
The
in the
Overton
public
window,
psyche.
absolutely.
Yeah, in the zeitgeist, and I think the church just has an anchor, doesn't it? In this year as well, we celebrate 1700 years exactly of the Council of Nicaea, and that this statement of belief that we have said, me and you, maybe we say it every Sunday, please God, and sometimes in between as well. But this is for 1700 years. Christians have been saying this, and it's a staggering thing, isn't it? So yeah, when you talk about the festival in light of that, I'd point you to the Goodness Marquee, which we talked about: truth, goodness, and beauty.
Yes, tell us more about
Goodness
that.
it's a home for Catholic social thought. It's a place where you can hear the Christian vision of life, and I think it's best summed up. We had the Guild hosts a series of lectures, sorry, and last year we had a priest from America come, Monsignor James Shea, and
Ah,
he's the
yes.
president of a university in North Dakota. And he wouldn't say he wrote the book, but collectively him and his staff put this book together, Christendom to Apostolic
It's
Mission, and
amazing.
he just
Amazing.
it's a great read, and he said, he's like, there's nothing new in here. It's a summary of what the
But
popes
it's
have said
enkindling, isn't
recently.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, you read it, and it's short. It doesn't take too long,
Yeah.
and you get a sense of the vision, what the church is trying to communicate to the world, that we have an eternal perspective on life. And I sort of have come down to that. Like, you talk about the euthanasia bill going through next week, and I think, gosh, yeah, we have an eternal perspective, that actually these decisions are, they're not ours to make. Like, this life here, how we see our temporary existence on this earth, our journey is beyond, isn't it, into the eternal. And so I almost think that's lesson one, that we have eternal perspective. And so that Goodness Marquee is jam packed with fantastic content about how to, discern the will of God, first of all, but also how to really get to grips with Catholic social teaching. There's a fantastic, one of the best voices on this is actually a peer in the House of Lords. He's a Jewish man. His name is Lord Maurice Glassman,
I love
and
that
he's going to
man.
join us. He's an amazing man. He gave a lecture for the Guild as well, and he introduced himself as he said, I'm the Jew who went to a Muslim country to tell them how good Catholic social teaching was.
It just sums it up, doesn't
So
it? I went to see.
yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
No, 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 no. I was just going to say. So that says it all. That actually we have something so beautiful, that here's a man who really knows his stuff. He's
Labour
like a
peer.
Labour man.
Yeah. Blue
Yeah, but
Labour.
he wrote the book Blue Labour, and he's really leading a movement, which it's just taking off. People who really are trying to look for something different, and his suggestion to them is like, I think it's Catholic social teaching,
Yes. Here's the
which is amazing.
principles.
And yeah, so I mean, like seeing all these newspaper articles, we're seeing, those sort of characters actually grab hold of what the church has and say, oh, this is actually really good for society. So that goodness marquee is a real, it's a real, like,
You know,
come
one
and hear
year
ideas.
I went to talk to Lord Glastonbury. I thought he was great, and he said, "You've got to come to Passover at my family home." You know, that's the kind of person he is.
Yeah.
So it happened to be that Easter fell. Easter night was the same night as Passover that year. And so I had the joy of, going to Hackney and having Passover with his family. I left the house at midnight and I went straight to, as it happened, Ogle Street, and they do the all-night vigil. So I was up till 6:30 in the morning with all the baptisms and everything that happens. And that was a beautiful taste of this continuity that we have between our Jewish brothers and sisters, as it were, in the covenants from the Lord. And those kind of connections, I hope, will be made at this festival as well. These people who you can hear of as celebrities because you hear them on the radio, like Father Toby Lees, he'll be there. Go to the website, you can see the programme, you will be amazed. And I think there's a wonderful opportunity for people to go with the intention of discovering their own charism as well. And say, like, Lord, take me to the right place, take me to the right person, get your guardian angel to help you and take you to the right people. Because it just happens, doesn't it? And your life can be absolutely changed by these kinds of experience. Your tent being blown away or falling in or whatever, like you're a crisp in a crisp packet. I don't know. And, camping isn't my favourite thing, but do you know what? It'll be worth it for this.
Yeah. There are, just to say to anyone, many's a person will be listening and thinking, that's not for me. There are, you can, when you book on, you can say, do you want to camp, or do you want to come, are you living locally and you can just come for the day, or do you want to come and like find local accommodation? So, I mean, choose what works for you. But if you can't come and stay in some capacity, then come for the day, because I mean, the tickets are £40 for a day, which I think is a steal.
It's a steal.
I would buy, I bought a cup of coffee this morning, which was £4. And I was like, I'd buy 10 of those to go to this a day at this festival where the content starts at, like, I don't know, early rises is like 7 a.m. onwards. You could do Lectio or Lords with some nuns or brothers, and you could get then there's like breakfast and cafe tent coffee with new people, fantastic, sit down and chat with a new family you've met, or clergy or religious or whoever it is, and then you're into the sessions. And we've just got I've never seen a program like it. I think
nothing like it. And it's all ages. It's not just a youth festival, or it's not just a families festival. It's an everybody festival. It's here comes everybody.
Yeah, and we've tried to be really accommodating of the church. We set about to build a festival that brings the church together. And so, who is the church? Like, who makes up a parish? Well, we thought, okay, we know who makes up a parish. Let's think about the people. And we thought, well, who are the really difficult customers? And we thought, okay, well, actually, it's probably young families, because that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Like, how often? I'm a young dad. I've got 3 little girls.
Right.
How often do I go to an event and feel totally at ease and think, wow, this event was made for me? Do you know,
how
like
beautiful.
what would that take to do that? And so we sort of set off with that intention. We thought, okay, well, we're going to need to be able to offer things for different age kids, and that the parents can get away and enjoy some content, but also stuff for the family, spiritually renewing and formative and also fun. So this, we really set off with that intention to accommodate the church and therefore to accommodate families, but then everyone else in the parish too. So the parish priest, we thought, is probably quite a tricky customer in himself, like how to get him motivated to come. So we thought, well, look, Father, here's an event that could really renew your parish. We used to have lots of parish missions, didn't we? And they've sort of dried up. There's some amazing, people still going with them. But on the whole, I think it's pretty hard to find to organise a parish mission these days. And why did they exist? And should we miss them? I think we should. And Monsignor John Armitage, he's keen on this. He really thinks that we miss parish missions and that we need more of them. And I like to think that this festival, in a way, is like a big parish mission. It's like if your parish priest decided to bring 20 or 30 people and to this festival, and that happened alongside 40 or 50 other parishes from across the country, then wow, wouldn't that be an amazing experience? And that is sort of what we've got. Well, it is what we've got, shaping up. So if you're listening and you're a parish priest, then I mean, think about that this could be for anyone in your parish, any age, any situation. This could be a great moment for them. So it's a really great invitation to them, I think.
And anyone who comes, I feel, will be able to think to themselves, what isn't here? I mean, there's a lot there, but anything that isn't there, because to me, it seems like everything's there, but that's where they're called to fill in the space. People often say, if you think something needs to be done and you feel passionate about it, it's probably because you're called to do it. So, whether you know what you're called to do or you don't know what you're called to do, just come and see how you feel inspired.
I love that point because it's so easy to knock something, isn't it? Particularly something new.
Yeah.
And we know what life's like as soon as you make something. You're a creative, you know this for sure.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as you make something, you put it out there, and it just faces the opinion, doesn't it? Of
people come and tell you what you've not done right.
Yeah. So I think one of the hesitations with creating a festival of Catholic life is like, oh, well, what kind of Catholic? And that sort of thing. And it's like,
but you've got so many different kinds of Catholic here, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, hands up, it won't be everybody. And I hope that there is content that makes people uncomfortable, because we're a really big, beautiful church. And there are types of Catholics who you might think, well, I'm not like that. I don't pray like that. I don't sing like that. I don't go to mass like that. We've got all these different ways that we can divide ourselves quite quickly. And I just remind everyone that that's the devil. That's his trick. He wants us to be a divided church. And ultimately, Jesus' prayer in John 17 is, may they all be one. And I think we can hear that in quite a soppy way and think, oh yeah, may they all be one. But it's a genuine thing. Like, communion is not a given. We have to work for communion. And the more Pope John Paul II, Pope Benedict, I'm sure Pope Francis, but I haven't read it, but I'm sure he says it somewhere. They speak about the more united we are as a church, the more in communion we are, then the clearer the proclamation of the gospel becomes. Now I've paraphrased, but the meaning is there, right? That actually we can't give up, as a church. I'll be like, oh well, they don't understand, and these people are like that, and this. We have to think very generously and think, okay, well, God willed a big, beautiful church, and it has huge variety and expression, and like that's a beautiful thing and a good thing and a God-willed thing. And can we bring it together in quite an extraordinary way? Let's find out.
Wonderful. I mean, I once heard the testimony, I listened to it several times actually, of a Satanist who eventually became a Catholic, and one of his roles was to divide. That's what he did, and he at the time had managed to divide, through a combination of gossip and slander and complaint, 28 churches. By churches he meant like ecclesial communions, different places, and that's what he had done. So I love that this festival sees itself as an antidote too to lots of different things, and it's up to us to choose to be an antidote. I run a course called Be the Antidote for Pro-Life Creatives for the Right for Life Academy, and that's something that'll be represented there too. Because I suppose people can bring their own little cards and leaflets and meet people and just trust that their initiative, the Holy Spirit, is hovering over the waters, to create fresh life from the life that's being represented there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And one of the extraordinary parts of this festival, I think, is the opportunity to meet with so many different types of religious.
Yes, I noticed how many nuns, monks, and so forth are there.
Yeah. You talked about the charisms earlier, that people can almost sort of share their charism or discover their charism. That's such a part of this festival. We have the theme from Blessed Pier Giorgio Frassati. So he gave us the theme. Sorry, it's gone from my head. Oh yeah, holiness is within reach, which we've taken really to mean that there's a universal call to holiness. We spoke about eternal perspective, like we are going somewhere, and hopefully it's a good somewhere. That's what we have to work for. But the only way we can do that is where God has placed us, right? So I can only be Saint John Withers if I make my marriage holy. God will make it holy, but there are things that I can do that will help. So marriage, family, the place I work, my colleagues, the guys I play football with on a Monday, or my mates that I see around the place, at the parish community. This is where God has put me, and it's the same for each person who attends this festival. We come from our own communities, our own situations, and that is where God will essentially wants you to be a saint, wants you to be holy. And so beautifully, as the church comes together in this event, with all those religious, we've got Franciscans and Dominicans and Benedictines and contemplative nuns, and I've forgotten lots, but I'm sure
Bards
there's,
of the Bard School.
many a thought. Oh, Bards of the Bard School, absolutely. So I think we see in them charisms really beautifully lived out. Why does someone join a religious community? Because they feel this deep calling in that direction. And just two thoughts on that. One is that it's a one is about that as the okay, so I feel like I'm drawn to a particular way of life, or I live out a certain charism or gift, and I see then in these religious that they've done this on another level. And so it's an encouragement to all the attendees actually to really dig in, to ask the Lord and to discern who's he made me to be, what does it look like for me to be most fully alive. But then the other thought is that there's a fascinating survey in America of 5,000 Catholic priests. Okay, and this was done in I think 2022, and the key finding on discerning priesthood from all of them was the main reason for priestly discernment was when they were young, when they were kids, they spent time with clergy. So maybe outside of the Sunday Mass. So maybe a priest came for dinner, or maybe they went to a summer camp where there was a priest, or something like that. Wow. And so if we were to follow that out, then we might think that, okay, to create a festival and put all these religious in and these clergy with also families as well, we're giving people the reality that these vocations are possible. The prime vocation to pursue holiness, to come close to the Lord, but then beyond that, the reality of these states in life, which I don't know about you, but I don't see religious in my parish. I see one priest. And so to be able to see more is a real gift.
One of the great gifts of living in Walsingham is all the religious that you see walking down the street. And, I left Mass this morning and there were like 4 nuns and 6 nuns I had to negotiate to get through the door, So it's a different kind of a place. But, we want every parish to be, like Walsingham, people raising their families in the faith and in the vocations. And it is, you're right, it's beautiful when I talk to the young men I teach in the seminary, vocal communication, they, their stories reveal exactly that. I edited a book of people who've died on mission in Africa, Comboni missionaries, and almost every single one of them had heard a priest give a talk when they were about 8 years old. Between 8 and 12 was when those men heard their vocation. So that was really fascinating. So just to say, webelievefestival.com. Go along, everybody. There's FAQs. You can find the answers to all your questions. You can see the fantastic programme. And I look forward to seeing you there. John, all the best with your final preparations. 25th to the 28th of July, 2025. And the first, please God, of many. God bless you and thank you so much.